She bought a wounded German Shepherd for just $5. Everyone called it a mistake. But days later, the dog did something that made her collapse in tears. What she thought was a broken stray turned out to be something far more shocking, and it inspired an entire town. Lily was just 7 years old, she always said. One day I'm gonna find my real best friend. That day came sooner than anyone expected. While visiting a neighbor's rundown property on the edge of town with her grandfather, Lily spotted movement near an old rusted barn. There, lying in a bed of straw and mud, was a German Shepherd. Thin, limping, his eyes dull, body scarred, tied loosely to a fence post, like he didn't matter at all. When Lily asked the man about the dog, he shrugged. "He's no good anymore. Hurt his leg. You can take him. $5." Lily looked up at her grandpa, eyes wide, then reached into her jacket pocket and pulled out exactly 5 crumpled dollars. Lily's hand trembled slightly as she extended the $5 bill toward the man. It was all she had. Money she'd saved from helping her grandma gather eggs and sweeping the porch every weekend. The man snatched the crumpled cash without a second glance, muttering, "He's your problem now." But to Lily, Bruno wasn't a problem. He was a promise. Her grandfather hesitated. "Sweetheart, are you sure?" She nodded firmly. "He needs someone, and I think he picked me." They gently untied the dog, careful not to startle him. Bruno didn't resist. He simply stood, weak but willing, and followed Lily without a sound. That moment sealed their bond. When they arrived home, Lily made him a bed in the barn with warm blankets and fresh water. She knelt beside him, stroked his fur gently, and whispered, "You're safe now, Bruno." The name came to her without thinking, and the dog, for the first time, let out a soft sigh, as if he understood he finally belonged somewhere. The first few days were quiet. Bruno barely moved, barely ate. His limp was worse than Lily had realized, and he flinched at every sudden sound. He never barked, never growled, just watched with tired eyes that had seen too much. Lily stayed by his side for hours, reading him bedtime stories, sharing bits of her sandwich, and even placing her favorite stuffed animal next to him at night. Her grandparents watched silently, unsure if the dog would survive or trust again. But Lily never gave up. Every morning she greeted Bruno with a bright, "Good morning, buddy," and every night she tucked him in like a sibling. Slowly, something began to shift. One evening, as Lily was humming to herself while brushing hay, Bruno let out a tiny, uncertain wag of his tail. It wasn't much, but to Lily it was everything. That one wag told her what she already believed deep down. Bruno wasn't just healing physically, he was learning to feel safe, and more than that, he was learning to love again. It wasn't long before Lily's grandfather started noticing odd things about Bruno. One evening, as the TV played in the background, a military documentary came on. The moment the sound of marching boots echoed from the screen, Bruno snapped to attention. He stood, ears alert, body still, focused like a soldier hearing a familiar call. Lily noticed too. "Grandpa, why did he do that?" she asked quietly. The next morning, something even stranger happened. Lily dropped a bucket full of grain, and before she could even react, Bruno darted forward and positioned himself between her and the noise. Protective, calculating. Later, Lily playfully pointed her finger like a toy gun and shouted, "Bang!" Bruno dropped to the ground instantly, playing dead. No one had ever taught him that. Her grandfather watched from the porch, brow furrowed. "That dog's been trained," he said softly. "Not just tricks, serious training." Lily looked down at Bruno, who now rested peacefully beside her. Maybe he forgot who he was, until now. The sun was setting when it happened. Lily wandered a little too far near the edge of the woods behind the farm, chasing after a butterfly with Bruno trailing behind. The grass was tall, the air still. Suddenly, a rustle came from the bushes, and in a flash, a wild boar burst out, snarling and charging straight toward her. Lily froze, her heart leaping to her throat. But Bruno didn't. In one swift motion, he launched himself between Lily and the animal, barking with such force it echoed through the trees. He didn't hesitate, didn't back down. With perfect precision, he circled, dodged, and herded the boar away from her, growling until it finally retreated into the woods. When it was gone, Bruno returned to Lily's side, licking her hand gently like nothing had happened. The next morning, Lily's grandfather made a decision. "We need to get him checked again. Properly," he said. They took Bruno to the town's animal clinic, a small place nestled between the feed store and the bakery. Dr. Simmons, the vet, welcomed them in and examined Bruno carefully. As he ran his hands along the dog's neck and shoulders, he paused. "There's something here," he muttered, gently pressing into Bruno's skin. Moments later, he pulled out a small, embedded metallic chip, damaged but intact. Using a specialized reader, Dr. Simmons scanned the tag. What popped up on the screen made his eyebrows shoot up. This dog, he's not a stray. He was part of a military K-9 unit. Name, Bravo 9. Presumed dead in action 2 years ago during a transport explosion. Lily gasped. "Bruno?" Tears welled in her eyes as she knelt beside him. Bruno licked her face gently, as if to say, "It's okay now," she whispered. "You were a hero before I met you, but now you're my hero too." In that moment, the $5 dog became something far more, proof that broken things can still save lives. It didn't take long for Bruno's story to spread. Dr. Simmons, moved by what he discovered, called a local reporter who had once served in the military. The article appeared in the town paper a few days later under the headline, "Forgotten K-9 Hero Found by 10-Year-Old Girl." Within hours, people began showing up at the farm, some bringing treats for Bruno, others just wanting to meet the brave dog who had come back from the dead. Neighbors who had once kept their distance were now leaving thank you cards and bones on the porch. One retired soldier even drove across 2 counties just to shake Lily's hand and salute Bruno. "He saved more than just lives on the battlefield," the man said. "He reminded us what loyalty looks like." She looked out at the crowd, then down at Bruno. "I didn't know who he was when I gave that $5, she began, her voice trembling. "I just knew he needed someone. And maybe I did too." Her eyes welled up and she paused, wiping a tear with her sleeve. "They say I rescued him, but I think he rescued me first." The audience fell silent. Bruno stood beside her, strong and calm. His tail wagged gently as if he understood every word. Lily reached down, hugged him tightly and whispered, "You're my best friend." And in that moment, there wasn't a single dry eye in the crowd.